And we are back with Game 5. I wanted to make one more comment on this last one. I had said when the queue was set up that 4, 7, 4, 4, and 7 was a tie. It was not. Reay can just take that. We're going to pretend that never happened. Deli's tie in 2 was the correct and only tie. And now we will move on to Game 5 of this match. Let's take a peek. So nice 7-6s for Reay this time. This looks like it's going to be a tougher game for Deli. The 3-6, 3-6 sometimes dominates, but not necessarily here. It is kind of interesting how the 3-6, 3-6 and the 5-6, 2-6 between them cover most 6s and 7s, but a lot of very strong 7-6s for Reay and only 1 for Deli. Also, this is Reay's 5th first turn in a row, so that's difficult. Directionally, Deli also has a huge down problem. So I would be very unsurprised if Reay started something like 7, 4, 6, 1, and 8, saying that, 5, 6, 1, 6 or 6, 2, 4, 7 have the recaptures both ways safely. On the other hand, if you can, usually playing a corner is still preferable. But Deli can take all strong corners on the bottom row. So maybe this time side is the right way to say there's a directional advantage. Another way that I'm going to throw out, but no one agrees with me on, is... what's the right way to do it? What if you said, 7, 4, 6, 1 this game is just going to dominate? It's going to... that doesn't quite work. I wanted to say you can also try to take advantage of this directional weakness by chucking something in 2 and just saying you never have safety in 1 or 3, and if I can play 4, 6, 7, 1 in 1 or 3, I do have safety there, right? So you drop some card in 2, 5, 6, 1, 6, that seems like a card that might not play well here. Not an easy card to take back, but that's true for both players. But you play 5, 6, 1, 6, and 2, and you're just planning to play 4, 6, 7, 1 in either 1 or 3 as soon as you get the opportunity and grab safety there, and Deli will not have comparable safety. Anything he plays will be pretty easily attackable. So I think one way to directionally go at a hand that has no down is to try for the aggressive side starter, which I've really been pushing in my commentary of recent. It's going to be funny when this video comes out. Not that people watch these closely enough to care, but it would be funny if all my videos are pushing, aggressive side starters, but I recorded this 2 months before it comes out. And so it's oh, Waz is only playing aggressive side starters, and I'm miles past that phase within 2 months. That said, 7, 4, 6, 1, and 8 seems like the kind of move Reay would make. Are there serious other options? I'm not seeing obvious ones. I do like the idea in 2. I think there's ideas in 8. And maybe there's ideas that just play on the bottom with something a little tricky to take facing up. I'm not sure what that would be, right? Because anything with kind of a 6 facing out, Deli has better playoff than Reay does. So how exactly would you want to do it? And you like the 7-6-3-2, it's hard to retake the 7, so you can't really start that way. Same for the 7-4-6-1. So maybe you end up with something like 6-2-4-7 and 7, but you have 2 1s and a 2 facing left. You really don't want the game leftward. So it doesn't seem obvious to me how you make that kind of move work. I don't see a clear way to do it while keeping directional power in the direction you want. You don't want to use 4, 6, 7, 1 and say 9 because A, that's a lot of your power facing the action, and B, that gives up your card that combos back 7, 3, 5, 3, and 6. So I think there's not really a clean way to do that, and I think you probably should start in 2 or 8 here. Now, Ray's predilections and mine are different. He has picked up 5, 6, 1, 6. Three? No. 1? No. 9? Maybe 9? Maybe 9. It feels weird because it gives up such comfortable captures, but you have such comfortable ways to slide in, and it is hard to recapture from 6. So I could see 5, 6, 1, 6, and 9. Like, the fact that 5, 6, 2, 6 takes so comfortably may not be that big a deal. You know, if it ever does take, you play 7, 6, 3, 2, and 7, and you'll have 7 and 8 safe, and that's a pretty good starting point. So, okay, 5, 6, 1, 6, and 9 makes a bunch of sense. Trying to figure out bottom corners, or corners on the bottom of the board, I hadn't really started trying to justify the ones with a 6 facing out. But if you're going to do it, that's one you would consider doing, and for Deli's hand, you want the game going down, and for your hand, you want the game going right. So 9 is a fairly logical square to end up at. That said, I still like the idea of either a defensive or aggressive side. I think that's a nice way to take advantage of the fact that you going up and then going down is a problem. Going in 2 says, because you have no down, you have nothing to ever put in 1 or 3 that's comfortable. And 8 says, because you have no down, you have no way to fight against me going in squares like 7, 8, and 9. And specifically, the problem with 7 and 9 is Deli has good play against them in 8, or at least the potential problem. So blocking 8 to start with makes some sense. Now Reay goes in 7. Okay. This was not where I thought the game was going to be directed for him. So gotta think. There's a bunch of things you can do here. I'm not sure how good any of them are. Like, Reay's hand is very strong. You should have some advantage, but it does seem like he's so weak going left. How can Deli be lost if Deli goes 1? That's sort of my instinct here. Maybe there Reay can make it so the left power doesn't matter much. Something like Deli goes 1, Deli goes 1, Reay goes 4, Deli recaptures in 2, Reay can go in 5, capturing 2, and he doesn't need to have any left power there. And he can play such that he never really needs to have left power. Deli goes 3, Reay goes 8, and he keeps 6, 2, 4, 7 or 7, 4, 6, 1 for the end, and never actually needed to play to the left at all. This is one of the reasons first turn has such an advantage, is because it can kind of control the game in ways where directional issues are not that big a deal, and second turn doesn't get that luxury. Seven, 3, 5, 3, and 5. That's a move. Is it good? I'm not sure, but it's a move. Sorry, when I said 7, 3, 5, 3, I meant 3, 3, 3, 7. 7, 3, 5, 3, and 5 is not a move. It sets up nothing in 4. But 3, 3, 3, 7, and 5 is a move. Almost any card in 3 is a conceivable move. If you want to make the game side to side, I could see going in 6. But I think, mostly speaking, you want the game not going down. So I don't think you really want to play like 8 or 9. And that is a downside to 6 as well, as it sort of keeps the occupation of the board on the lower half. This is difficult. I'm really curious what Deli does here. And we got another 3 minutes to wait for it, but one thing I like about 3, 3, 3, 7, and 5 is I probably want to follow it up not with 3, 6, 3, 6, and 8 for the same, but with 5, 6, 2, 6, and 8, such that I have combo play against 6, 2, 4, 7, and 9, because I have 3636 for 6. Ah, but 6714 could also plus in 6, so either card could go in 8. So I feel going in 8 sets up real potential, or going in 5 sets up real potential to go in 8 down the road. Now at this moment, Reay has a really nice rejoinder in 4. It does give him multiple pluses in 4. Does do that. Another point is... I wanted to use the same card twice. I was thinking we also sort of threatened to go in 4, because Ray's only recapture in 8 is 6247, and then you could play 7353 safely in 9, but you cannot, because you've already played 7353. It was the card you set up for 4. So that was a foolish bit of thinking I did there. I'm going to guess Deli goes in 1 or 5. Three, 7, and 3 also makes some sense. Quite a bit of sense, perhaps. 3, 7, 3. The thing I don't like about that is if Reay goes 4, which is a logical square, you know, building out, locking in the 5, 6, 1, 6. Or not 4, he has to go 8. So I do like it more. I was going to say, if Reay had to go 4, then Deli locking in his card would have to go 6. And I don't like the structure of 3, 6, and 4, 7 for a second turn. I think it's very dangerous and requires a ton of calculation to justify. Often it's the right move. It's just not to my tastes. But Ray's lock-in would be an 8. And 8, we could either meet, depending on the card, with 6 or maybe 9. But we might not have a good setup in 6 against 8. If 8 has a 7 up, then you might have 6, 7, 1, 4, and 6. Though I don't... Looking at that, I don't think it works. Because you're setting up 3, 6, 3, 6 to land in 5, but that has a problem to combos in 4 to 4, 6, 7, 1. Okay, Deli does go 5. Of the kind of 1, 3, and 5 options, this one seems pretty logical. If Deli ever goes in 4, Reay can take only one away from 1, and that's 4, 6, 7, 1, and Deli has the same in 2. That doesn't combo back, but it is nice and, you know, secure, snug feeling. How do we manage this as Reay? It also really nicely, again, if 6247 ever lands in 9, which is a square it's really prone to land in, it allows something to 3, 6, 3, 6. So maybe 3, 6, 3, 6 is overworked. If that comes out of Deli's hand, he can only use it once. He does have a backup card for 8 in 5, 6, 2, 6. This is true. Now that the move's on board, I like it more than I liked its look seeing it not yet on the board. But I am prone to underestimate the strength of moves when I am taking the viewpoint of the player. I think that is a common trait of mine. Start inputting the game. Reay is, of course, always first turn on this match. 5, 6, 1, 6, 7, 3, 3, 3, 7, 5. There is a left weakness. 4, 6, 7, 1 has a lot of play here. 7, 4, 6, 1 has a lot of play. 6, 2, 4, 7 has a bunch of play. 7, 6, 3, 2, not so much play. So maybe the question is, where do you put 7, 6, 3, 2? 3. I could see just playing 7, 6, 3, 2, and 3. Seems like a reasonable move. The other standard squares are 2 and 6. I don't love those so much. I think they're a little trickier to recapture. We're happy to play weak stuff on the board, especially when we're on first turn, because first turn gets last turn, and it's nice to have stuff that's easy to capture. Yeah, I don't like 6 because if nothing else, it just gives up total safety. Unless... 6 feels very dangerous to do because of 9. Like, if you go 6 and they go, 6, 7, 1, 4, and 9, and you're like, I can capture that with 4, 6, 7, 1, and 8, well, you get comboed really hard by 4. And in general, because it's hard for you to touch 8 there, I think it's a difficult position. It's hard to play around those combos. Your only card to do so is 6, 2, 4, 7, and 8, and then you can't really play against 9. So I think 6 is pretty uncomfortable. Two is also potentially tricky, because I guess actually Deli's just so weak going down that it's probably not that uncomfortable. Yeah. 7, 6, 3, 2, and 2 might be fine. My instinct is 7, 6, 3, 2, and 3. But we should keep looking around for other moves. I don't want to play like in 1. I don't want the game to be leftward. I don't really see the point of 9. Not sure what other card I'd be that excited to put in 2, 3, or 6, so I'm sure there are reasonable moves there, but I'm not sure why they would be preferred over Behemoth there. And then it comes down to, do you force the action in 4 or 8? I think it's really difficult to force the action in 8, because most cards you want to put there walk into combos, so you're left with forcing the action in 4. And he does so. Now, this walks into big combo, but if 3, 6, 3, 6 is used, then suddenly 4, 6, 7, 1 is safe in 1. No, 7, 6, 3, 2 is such a dead card in your hand. No, I don't love this. I think Deli should play 5, 6, 2, 6, and 8. You want to keep 3, 6, 3, 6. That covers 6, 2, 4, 7, and 9. So if Deli plays 5, 6, 2, 6, and 8, it doesn't flip 4 though, and then 4 is safe. So there is a real case for 3, 6, 3, 6. 3, 6, 3, 6 forces action a little more, but I think 4 is going to end up Reay's anyway. Just think that. Maybe that's wrong. Tough choice here. Either card in 8. I kind of think if you play a 5, 6, 2, 6, and 8, I kind of think Reay is intending 7, 6, 3, 2, and 3. Well, against 3, 6, 3, 6, yeah, you have options. Against 5, 6, 2, 6, I'm kind of thinking you want to go 3, because you just don't want 7, 6, 3, 2 in your hand anymore. And this is kind of the last time you'll clearly be able to throw it out in a way that kind of fits a formational desire. Right, with cards in 4, 5, 7, and 8. I'm not calculating exactly or anything, so this might just be wrong. But in general, with cards in 4, 5, 7, and 8, right, you can go 1, 3, or 9 and do something useful. But after you go 1, if they go 2 or if they go 9, you might need cards that can do very specific things for those last moves, right? There might not be another turn where you can just drop a card in a square that doesn't capture anything and is kind of high out facing. You might not have time for that. You might, but you might not. I forgot that 6, 7, 1, 4 also covers 6, 2, 4, 7 ever landing in 9. So, if Deli goes 8, 6, 2, 4, 7, and 9 is never really good to play. So I kind of think the plan's probably 7, 6, 3, 2, and 3. But I think Deli's move in 5 was good. And after that, I don't think he was in that much danger. And now I think he can look to play for advantage. I'm surprised Reay didn't start in 8, though, because I know he likes the side starters more than I do. And it looked good to me. Maybe there was a big setup in 4 or 6 that he didn't like the look of. I didn't check all that deeply. Deli does go 5, 6, 2, 6. He keeps the more valuable card. We've talked about this before. Deli is really prone to holding on to the card that will have the best endgame potential. He's not going to care as much about taking the combo as keeping cards that are powerful. So my guess was 7, 6, 3, 2, and 3. Now Reay is currently down 6, 4. So if we go 7, 6, 3, 2, and 3, let's just calculate out all the moves. We can do that. If 3, 6, 3, 6 in 1, if nothing else, we can play 6, 2, 4, 7, and 2. That double captures, makes it 6, 4. And then 6, 7, 1, 4, and 6 makes it 6, 4 the other way. And 4, 6, 7, 1, that 4 captures a 1, makes it 5, 5. That looks like a tie. If 6, 7, 1, 4 and 1, then 4, 6, 7, 1, and 2 has the plus, and that should win, because 7 plus 1 equals 6 plus 2. And if 7, 3, 5, 3 and 1, I think we're back to 6, 2, 4, 7, and 2 ties. Okay, so you don't lose to 1. Do you lose to 2? Anything put in 2 you can take with 4, 6, 7, 1. So at worst, you will be down 6, 4 if they took 3, and you don't combo them back, and your 6, 2, 4, 7 is going to get multiple captures. So that's great. If they go 6, then you're going to play 6, 2, 4, 7, 9. You're going to get 2 captures, and you're golden. And if they start in 9, delayed this for last, probably should calculate it first, because it's clearly most critical. If they start with 6, 7, 1, 4, and 9, then you have 6, 2, 4, 7, and 6, right? Anything 6, 2, 4, 7 can take, that or 3, 6, 3, 6, you're in good shape. So the critical move after 7, 6, 3, 2, and 3 is 7, 3, 5, 3 in 9. But that card coming out of Deli's hand gives up his only double capture in 5. So it's 6, 4. You play 6, 2, 4, 7, and 6. That makes it 5, 5. And they can only capture 1 card if they want to capture, and 4, 6, 7, 1 will capture back. So you have at least a tie there. You might have more, but 7, 6, 3, 2, and 3 is a tie, and I think is a very logical way to play this, and Reay has picked up the card. I think he's thinking at a similar direction and similar speed. You could also be looking to go, do you want to put that card in 1? No, because when W goes in 2, your 4, 6, 7, 1 is suddenly a terrible part of your hand. Do you want to put that card in 9? I don't think so, but I guess it's legal. Maybe it works. It might work, but it seems unlikely. I think 6, 7, 1, 4, and 1 might be a problem. Not going to count that out. We're going to reload, and yes, indeed. Reay has made the very logical move here. And this should hold the tie. He has 2 very powerful cards for the remaining squares. But I think credit to Deli, took what I thought was a really uncomfortable hand, made a move in 5, and by move 4, it was Deli looking for advantage rather than Reay. And I have no idea how many ties Reay had. Sometimes you look at these positions and you're like, this is tough. That seems like the only way to tie. And the solver's like, nah, there were 4 or 5 ties. But the other moves were all like hideously ugly weirdo moves in like 2 or something. And you're like, okay, I didn't see the hideously ugly weirdo move. I saw the normal human tie. In chess, it sort of happened that enough kids have grown up with computers that kids have started to take on what feels like this very inhuman style, where they've grown up playing computers and having computers tell them moves, so those moves start seeming normal to them. But they don't seem normal to me. I am not of that era, and even if I was a little younger, I'm not sure it would have ever quite clicked to me. It all gets very specific. And while I am a pretty specific calculator, I think, my positional preferences have always been towards clarity, and then I try to calculate specifically from there and with that as a goal. And that's not really where modern chess has gone, and that's not really where the solver always wants to go either. So it can show some really interesting things, but a lot of the time it shows things I don't find particularly useful for me. That said, I think this should tie. I think it's a good move, and I think it really speaks to the power of Reay's 2 remaining cards. But my instinct would have been to sequence this the other way. Would have been to start with 7, 6, 3, 2, and 3, and hope that 7, 4, 6, 1 can land better. Which arguably you might say is like the deli approach, right? As we've talked about it, at least in this match. Obviously, different matches, different games will look different. But deli has tended to try to get rid of the cards that didn't have play, but still accomplished a purpose, right? He still plays in 8, but he plays 5, 6, 2, 6 there, not 3, 6, 3, 6 there. And there are starker examples in the prior games when he held on to the 5, 5, 7, 1 as long as possible. Here, I think the move in that kind of direction of thinking might be to use 7, 6, 3, 2 first. But I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I think Reay clearly comfortably held this position and should, not really have complaints unless you think the hand was so good he should have been pushing to win even against a player as strong as Delial. And maybe that's true, but it's hard. I do think Delial's move in 5 was pretty good, and I'm not sure my move in 3 created anything either. So, yeah, don't know what to say. Obviously, in this exact move order, you switch up the moves and it starts looking better, right? You play in 3. If Deli then goes in 8 and you can play Cactuar in 4, you flip some extra cards. And that would obviously be favorable, but Deli wouldn't go in 8 there, so not really transferable. But if it was, it would be an argument for my move, and the important thing is to pretend my moves are good and pretend the game is evidence for that, even when it is no such thing. That's it, another solid game. This is their 5th. I said in the last one that they had made no mistakes or one mistake through 4 game each way, one game that wasn't flawless. That turned out to be incorrect. The solver pointed out a second mistake. But I strongly believe this brings them up to their 3rd clean game out of 5, which is, again, still a high rate. Anything over 50% against strong opposition is a high rate. Deli's going to be playing 6, 7, 1, 4, and 2. And I guess, no, not 1. I was going to say, I guess 1 works as well, but 1 walks into a funny plus. And Reay will play in 1. And 3, 6, 3, 6 is left over. And we have tie number 5. Will Deli ever get first turn? We don't know. In general, if we skip over to my win probability table, if it decides to load, there we go. It thinks the first game of the match was really well played, that Reay sort of had the advantage early, but then Deli's move on move 4 confused things. Numbers over 50 favor first turn, under 50 favor second turn, and it thought after Deli's 4th move that Reay was in a lot of trouble, but he did a good job stabilizing, and it gives a really high score to the game. 25 for Reay and 40 for Delial is an exceptionally high game score for a single game. The second game of this match, it thinks Reay got himself in trouble and Delial didn't convert. It does think Delial played better, which makes sense given that Delial got the advantage. But this was the weakest played game of the series so far. Game 3, Reay achieved a winning position, wasn't able to convert. He had a winning move on move 3 he didn't find. Tricky to find, very specific path. Conceded a lot of ground, but ended up having sweepers later. Weird concept. And it says, okay, Reay missed a win, but it thinks they both played that game pretty well. 8 and 14 are good game scores. And game 4 it thinks was very solid from both players. Little bit advantage to Deli, you'll notice. Through kind of the early mid-game, Deli's a little ahead here. But then it thought Reay was very close to winning late. Deli had to find an only move there, but he did find it. 71, I shouldn't say, is very close to winning. 71 is it thinks it's like even odds between a tie or a win. 75 is even odds, but 71 is it starting to go, okay, this is dangerous. All right, let's include a second game in the same video. This will be a kind of long video, but that's okay. I think this last game they played was quite good. I think it would rank that one as the second best played game of the match so far. Okay. Of course, Reay has first turn for the millionth time in a row. Let's think about directions. Let's check Deli's hand first, because Reay has first turn and has more opportunity to take advantage of directions. Deli is a 7 down, a 7 right, and 6 is in the other directions. Reay has a 7 up, a 7 right, a 7 left, and a 7 down. Once again, Reay should have a pretty powerful hand here. Does he have any safety out of this? No. No free safety. Does he have combo potential against Deli's big cards? Because the 6, 2, 7, 4, that 7 can overpower stuff. Can you plus wall that 6? The answer is no. That 1, 7, 4, 6, you might be able to plus wall that 6. Your 6, 7, 1, 3 covers it pretty well, and the 7, 5, 1, 5 does too. So, could you start with something like 7, 5, 1, 5 in 9? Saying you have no capture in 6, and if you take from 8 with either 5, 6, 2, 6 or 1, 7, 4, 6, I can combo you to hell. But I can't combo 6, 6, 4, 4 to hell. So maybe that doesn't work. Alright, it looks like we don't really have a way to force action there. You could start with something like 6, 7, 1, 3, and 7. Just say, okay, if you capture from 4, that's fine. I recapture from 8. I'm very happy. My 5, 1, 7, 5 is going to be great in those positions. And it is somewhat difficult for you to set up an 8. Not impossible, though. And you can play various ways in 8 that don't really give me much to work with. Okay. Is there any directions where Deli runs out of power really quickly? I think down is pretty clearly Deli's worst direction. That doesn't feel like a hot take. But it's also your worst direction. You have that 7, 5, 1, 5 and that 6, 7, 1, 3. I don't see a wonderful way to use those towards the bottom. Alright, well if we go with my aggressive sides or my current, fad, we can beat anything they have out facing their left or right, and we can beat anything they have going up. So we could just drop something in 6 or 8 and say, I can flip anything you play. If needed. I don't think we have a great card to put in 6. Do we have anything super appealing to put in 8? Nah, I don't really think so either. I'm not sure here. Let's talk to our cards. 6, 7, 1, 3 wants to go upright. 7, 5, 1, 5 wants to go up and whatever. 3, 6, 4, 7 wants to go side to side. 5, 1, 7, 5 wants to go left. 5, 5, 2, 7 wants to go up left. So it does feel like we should direct the game up, even if that Deli's hand doesn't mind that. And one thing I notice is 6, 7, 1, 3. If we start in 1 and Deli ever plays 4, 6, 7, 1, 3 is just a real powerhouse responder. It can combo 2 cards there, and the 2 cards there that are most likely to be able to take 1. Though, with the numbers we're going to face out, probably they can take anything. And it's going to be safe in itself, and that's always nice to have. Similarly, 5, 1, 7, 5 can take a lot of things in 3 if anything ever lands in 2, while being safe itself. So I think going in 1, not saying this is so hard for you to take, but just saying, if you ever do take, I know I will have good play, is a reasonable choice. And if so, which card do we want to put there? I'm thinking 7, 5, 1, 5, and 1. And as I say that, we get quite a different move. So let's think about this one. Now, all of Deli's captures and 8s are comboed back. I know I said a video or two ago that like sometimes I say I saw something but didn't say it, and I didn't see it, but sometimes I did see it. I did see that 8 created this bot. I'm not sure if I said, but I did see that 8, you had anything in 8 covered, any capture in 8, if you had something decent facing out, except for 6156. And we also don't have amazing play against 4, right? When I think of like playing a starter where we have play against their potential captures, which is not to say they're going to capture immediately, but at some point they'll probably attack it, and we want a nice response. It's kind of... It's not even like, if they go in 4, do we have a combo in 1? It's, do I have a capture I'm happy about in 1? And if we think if Reay had played this card in 1, and it was captured from 4, we know we'd have a recapture in 7 we like, whether or not it combos, because 6713 is safe. Here, if 6274 ever lands in 4, we're going to play 5175 in 1 if we ever need to flip that from 1, and that's going to be a card that is immensely vulnerable. So I don't love our captures here. I worry that 6713 and 7515, that having these 2 1s facing down, will prove a drawback here. So intuitively, I think Deli should have some play here. On the other hand, I think this does a nice job of avoiding obvious combo setups. That's probably what it was intended to do, more than the stuff I care about. I'm just so unworried these days about anyone going in 5. I'm just so anti-5. Even though, as we saw last game, it was a very good move when Deli played it. But I'm so unfussed about that like, I barely check it, which is probably silly. But I think it's good that like I go through different triple triad moods, and you can see videos where like that's the first thing I check, and you can see videos where I just could not care less about it. And hopefully that shows there is significant variation in how you can think about the game while still being a strong player. That said, I don't really want the game going down. What happens if Deli plays 6156 and 8? Point is, if Reay goes 5175 and 4, Deli plays, I don't know, 6644 in 9, and he has this safe wall of 6s facing out, and I'm not sure where Reay goes. I feel that should be advantage Deli. Like, Deli gets a press there. I feel like if the game goes 8-4-9, then Reay has to find a good move. That Deli can play pretty straightforward moves, and Reay has to be precise to survive. So kind of a free 1 turn of pressure. Not a ton of turns of pressure, but a free 1 difficult turn for Reay where he has to be careful. And I say free because we didn't have to do something complicated to get the pressure. So I think that's a decent game plan. Now, of course, 6156 and 8 could also be met by something like 7515 and 9. And then my thought was 5626 in 4, setting up 5, but I don't think that's very good. I think Reay can just capture that in 5 himself with 3647, and we don't have very good play against that card. We would if 6156 was still in our hand, but it is not. So maybe 8 is not very good because of 9. Yeah. Alright, scratch that idea. Now we've only got 2 minutes left, and I've spent all our time on one idea, but luckily I'm not playing this game, so I don't have to be too panicked. Can sort of play similarly by starting in 9. But I think that's a little clunky here. Because we don't have that much down either. That's why I wanted to play 8 and draw out their down rather than we play 9, they play 8, and they start drawing out our down. That was why that was my way of making the game downward. Yeah. Not sure what I'd do here. I mean, if I had done the thinking we've done and reached this position, I would just play 6, 1, 5, 6, and 8 because it's the move I have considered, and I would figure 7, 5, 1, 5, and 9 is dangerous, but I will figure it out when it happens. And maybe we can calculate that line further. Let's take a little time to look at that. 6, 1, 5, 6, 8, 7, 5, 1, 5, 9, 6, 6, 4, 4, 4 sets up a big threat in 5, or at least a relevant. 5, 6, 2, 6, 4. 3, 6, 4, 7, 5. We're down 6, 4. Do we hold? The depressing thing is 6, 2, 7, 4, and 1. They can take it, but they can importantly take it with 6, 7, 1, 3, which is a card we're trying to make sure they can't find use for, because that card kind of sucks at this point. Yeah, I don't think we have a big move there. Alright, well, we see a very different move. So I ended up concluding Reay's starter pretty good. Very good, maybe. I did not find a clear plan against it. And it looks like Deli didn't either. Note, this is a card he cannot take from 3. Reay cannot either, but Reay's going to have faster access to it. Interesting. So the first thing that pops out to me is 6, 7, 1, 3, and 8. Because that covers 4, right? If 6, 2, 7, 4 then ever lands in 4, I can play 7, 5, 1, 5 in 5. And 6 plus 1 equals 5 plus 2. So if 6, 7, 1, 3, and 8, which just seems an appealing move, right? We took our starter, we said you have more trouble taking from one side than the other, so we're going to leave you with the side you can't fight. Does give up my capture in 1. I admit this. We can admit this. We are making a concession. I think Deli can just block 5 there, actually. But which card? Which card? Does matter. Probably 6, 6, 4, 4. But do you really want to flip that and walk into combos? Unclear. I'm not sure. Another kind of straightforward move Reay could make, though I think this is a powerful card to hold on to, is 5, 1, 7, 5, and 3. Just grab the safety. Deli has no safety in 1 to parallel with it. I doubt he is a big setup move in 5, because I sort of skimmed 5 for setups against the starter in 7, and I didn't feel like he had them. Now, there's a new thing to create threats against in 3 if you go 3, but I'm skeptical. Deli could certainly go 4. He could also go 8 there. 8 might be good. You don't have to recapture in 4. 8 probably is good. Yeah, 5, 1, 7, 5 is a useful card to hold on to. Let's try and hold on to it. I don't think we really want an up-down game. I think Deli has cleverly realized his 6, 2, 7, 4 is really dominant, and I think if we play something in 5, he will find a way to get it working. But he also has no recaptures of his card. So it is pretty appealing just to go 5, right? Like, get 6, 7, 1, 3 or 7, 5, 1, 5 out of your hand. I mean, it's appealing. Probably not 6, 7, 1, 3, because that gives up a plus in 4 to 6, 6, 4, 4. But say you go 7, 5, 1, 5, and 5. Just say, like, okay, I'll keep your card in 2. What do you got? You still have any 6 facing out and 8 covered with 5, 1, 7, 5. You don't have much down, but you wouldn't need to recapture that immediately. I think it's okay to say, even if I wouldn't retake immediately, you probably can't go there. So I'm starting to think 7, 5, 1, 5, and 5. I think I see the problem. 7, 5, 1, 5, and 5. 6, 4. Let's say deli goes... say something like 6, 6, 4, 4, and 4. And we're like, okay, I can just take that from 1. 5, 1, 7, 5, and 1. And deli goes 5, 6, 2, 6, and 8. Now, we have 1, 2, and 4. Deli has 5, 7, and 8. It's 5, 5. All our 3 cards are safe. 2 of Deli's cards are vulnerable, but we have 6, 7, 1, 3 left in our hand, and I don't think we have a place to put it. And Deli has kept 6, 2, 7, 4. So if we play 6, 7, 1, 3, and 9, that's not safe. Deli just takes it and he actually wins with 6, 2, 7, 4. No. Sorry, we've kept 5, 1. We haven't kept 5, 1, 7, 5. So we have 6, 7, 1, 3 and 3, 6, 4, 7 left. It's pretty hard to find good uses for them. Probably we have to play something like 6, 7, 1, 3, and 3. Deli takes it and we go 9, taking 8, and we tie. But I actually think if we go 5, Deli should be able to tie in 4. He should be able to kind of just chuck the left side of the board to get 5, 1, 7, 5 out of our hand and make sure 6, 7, 1, 3 stays in it. Alright, what has Reay picked up? 6, 7, 3, 1. Now, I didn't think that should go in 5. I did like that in 8 for a bit, but I thought Deli could go 5? I wasn't sure he wanted to in which card. So this might be strong. I probably dismissed this too quickly. I do like this move a lot. It flips 2. But I think I have the same problem as the previous thing. What happens if just 6, 6, 4, 4, 4? Right? You could hold on to it, right? But we can play it immediately, I think. 6, 6, 4, 4, 4 flips everything. And 1 is a terrible square for Reay. You can start in 8, but let's look at 1. 1's the default square to go to. So Deli goes 4. I no longer like this move. I've flip-flopped here. Deli goes up 7, 3, right? Because it's currently 6, 4, and that will flip 3 cards due to the combo. 5, 1, 7, 5, and 1. Reay locks in 1 and 4, right? He's down 6, 4, but he has way more cards locked in. But his remaining cards just aren't that good. You know, maybe Reay has a tie. Maybe 7, 5, 1, 5 is a good card there. For instance, if Deli plays like 6, 1, 5, 6, and 8, and is up 6, 4, Reay can hold with 7, 5, 1, 5, and 9. He makes it 5, 5, and Deli has no captures. But that's a little scary. Also, after 6, 6, 4, 4, and 4, we have to check 8. 3, 6, 4, 7, and 8 is the logical card to put there. No, but that 3, 6, 4, 7 is comboed, right? By 5, 6, 2, 6. So that's not really that relevant. There's a bit of a combo chain that starts that 5, 1, 7, 5 can go for 6, 2, 7, 4, and 3. Yeah, I don't think that works. So I think 4 holds. There may well be many other moves that hold, but I think 4 holds. And I think sort of this idea of they have bad sweepers on the right, I can fill up the left even in a disadvantageous way and get compensation for it. An interesting way of thinking. Just sack that part of the board. And I do think Reay's move plays well against most other options, right? 3 is covered. But maybe you do start 3, because if you start 3, there's no way Reay blocks 4, and that way you can still have similar ideas later. And you can recapture 3 through combos from 4, going 5, 2, 3. So maybe you start 3. 3 might be a nice way to start. Yeah, 4 is a problem. 4 is a problem. So I think 7, 5, 1, 5, and 5 was the better way to do this. But I remember last time I was commentating and said, this was the wrong card. Checking after, nope, their card tied and my card lost. So, you should really often trust what the players do over what I say when commentating, because I am going to be more abstract and they are going to have gotten into more specifics. So I think I'd go 4 if I was Deli, but I think 3 makes some sense. 3 makes a lot of sense. If I still felt like thinking about this position, I would probably be lobbying for 3 here. Which card? Well, which card's going to have the least play elsewhere? I think 5, 6, 2, 6. So I think I'd be lobbying for 5, 6, 2, 6, and 3. Leaving 4 open, and also keeping 6, 2, 7, 4 ready to land in 6. And not, like, creating any combos for Reay. Yeah. Intuitively, that looks okay to me. As I've said before, I think I'm not a great player out of J setups. But I've had some recent ones I was quite proud of how I handled, so I'm feeling pretty sharp in them at the moment. Which is to say, I had a game against Turds where there was a quite dangerous one where I did something similar to what I'm advocating here. I sacked, okay, it was, rotated differently, but the equivalent of I sacked the left side of the board because I saw I could hold the right after. And that used to be something I was not very good at doing. So I'm pleased I have maybe gotten better at clarifying these. But like it used to be, and this depends on the year. When I was really sharp in 2009, 10, I think I could do lots of things. But by later 2010, 11, especially 2012, I wasn't playing much, and so there weren't creative juices going. And I found that I could still calculate, but my intuition was gone, so I couldn't figure out what to start calculating. And so I kind of leaned back on just generic positional understandings of, it's a J, I'd like to go in 1 if it's safe, 2 if I can combo it back, and otherwise 3 or 8, but usually 3 or 8. And was just kind of played them very generically, and that turned out not to be sufficient. But I couldn't find moves that didn't fit into what I thought were obvious patterns. Deli has picked up 6-6-4-4. And so while I could play really well within those obvious patterns, as soon as players started forcing me to do stuff more complex, and I was still a very good player, right? In my period of when I thought I was just playing horrendously badly, I made a finals and a quarterfinals and no early exits, right? It was a good run. But when I hit players, so this is the move we expected. When I hit players like Jimbo and Nightwish, it collapsed. It just wasn't sufficient. I mean, I did have an early exit. That was a lie. Not a lie. I was not remembering right. But, in my last 3 tournaments, I thought I was just horrendous in all of them. But I still had, a finals run. So, you can be very, very good without having creative juices going if you have calculation. But it meant, especially in that phase, and that was, the last phase I had before the return, it was really hard for me to find moves that conceded part of the board to handle the other side of the board. I would just immediately go, no, I am not making that. I will not make that concession. And I wouldn't then find ways to justify when and why I do want to make that concession. And so because I wouldn't start calculating moves that made concessions, I just had games where they'd do something tricky, and any move I make has some strengths and some concessions, and I just couldn't calculate any further on moves that made concessions. So I'd sit there for 7 minutes, not calculating anything. And I was still really good at calculating, but the brain wouldn't start working. And this is sort of how all our blindnesses work in a way, right? Is when there's a move we're obviously going to check and we don't see why it works. It's because we go, they do this, and then this can't be right, and you move on to the next thing. That's actually where Deli screwed up in game 2 of this match, I think. Game 2, yeah. And it's a really easy way to screw up, But where Deli did it, where it was a blindness, or where all of us do it, where it's like sometimes a blindness to one move, for me it was blindness to so many moves at that point. I wish I had the games from back then, for so many reasons, but I'd really enjoy comparing how I played in that phase and kind of my 2012 phase to how I was playing in 2009-10, because I think you'd see like so much more variation and creativity in the 2009-10 player, and the 2012 version knew some things the earlier player didn't, but had lost the spark. Alright, enough about me. So it seems like Deli has successfully drawn 5175 out of Reay's hand, which was the point of this. Give up the left, but get the critical card out of Reay's hand. Yeah. Very creative handling from Deli. 1746 and 2 is a very strange and obscure move, right? It both is not in the usual squares. It is also a card Reay can just take. He doesn't have recaptures on. But he just identified, I think, a card he didn't want, and also one that potentially set up these kind of positions. Like what we saw. I mean, it looks really prophetic now, where the huge strengths in Reay's hand quickly disappear. I mean, from the line we saw, this looks pretty brilliant. Like, not in, like, brilliant and, like, pulled a win out of nothing, but brilliant and, like, that was clearly, I think, a difficult situation after Reay's starter, and he plays a card that he almost completely just sacrifices, so that he can play another card he's going to sacrifice, so that the remaining position, you know, Reay has the only locked-in cards here, but Reay is out of useful power, and Deli should be able to play 6156 and 8. Not 5626, that gives up the combos. Not 6274. Oh, actually, that might work fine. I was just thinking that's a card you want to hold on to because it's tough to take, but you don't really actually even need it. 6156 will do the work. But now 8 is sufficient. Yeah, this is a really, really cool concept shown by Deli. Yeah. And also just shows how having a clunky capture, even if you have the capture, is uncomfortable. The 5175 could take anything in 4 from 1, but in just a whole bunch of lines, even before Deli played 2 that we looked at, it just didn't take in a clear enough way, right? It couldn't take while doing anything else. And when you're left with these single-dimensional moves, and it was such a good sweeper on the right, but it never mattered because it was the only card that could do anything in 1, so it kind of had to be used. So I think a really nice way of playing against a single card. And this is part of the reason that maybe you want to start in 9 rather than 7 here, is because your cards in the adjoining corners are better, right? Reay's best card after he goes in 7 in 3 is 5175. And that's just not a very good corner. And I say best corner not meaning most total value, but like most ability to take towards the action. So the 7 is most important, but the 1's also important. And that just ends up not being that strong card. So Deli plays it a bit differently than I was thinking. I didn't actually check secondary moves, so this may well be better, but no, clearly it's just another way to get a tie. Reay quickly plays in 6, setting up 3647 to sweep, and it does sweep sufficiently. With a plus, it can take any 6. Could have done this the other way. Could have played 3647 and 6. 7515 also sweeps the bottom. Another interesting game. I also suspect this one was cleanly played. It is possible after Deli's move in 2 that Reay had something. It's possible that it was better for Deli to start in 3 than 4, but I think they were the same, and I'm confident 4 worked, and I'm not confident 3 did. So I guess they were the same, and the upside of 3 is maybe it was a little trickier, and the downside of 3 is it might have been losing. I didn't check it. So, like, you know, from what information I have, the downside of 3 seems a lot worse than the upside. All right, so 6, 1, 5, 6, 8, 3, 6, 4, 7, 9. They may keep going, but I am going to end this recording. It's gone on long enough. I think these were very interesting games and well played too. And will be another video of this stuff if they keep going.